Thank you so much to those of you supporting the channel on Patreon, including the big patron of the month, the Nerd Therapist. Thank you. Hello, Pokemon Masters, Birdkeeper Toby here, and Pokemon cards are massive for me. I have been collecting since base set, playing on and off throughout the years, and now really quite heavily collecting in the last 6 months, and of course playing the competitive card game. Look, I've got my own deck, it's all sleeved up, secret rares. And this video, by the way, of course, is sponsored. It's sponsored by the Pokemon trading card game and the newest set, Cosmic Eclipse. I decided to reach out to the Pokemon company and say, hey, look, I love the Pokemon cards. I've been getting into them so much recently. On two fronts, since watching the World Championships this year and seeing that the World Championships are going to be in London next year and going, oh my goodness, wouldn't it be cool to play and take part? To hunting down as many shiny Pokemon as possible in Hidden Fates. Yeah, I've really gotten into Pokemon cards, and so I reached out to the Pokemon company and they said, yeah, they'd be willing to work on me with a few videos. They sent me out a ton of product. In the last video, I opened up this box of Cosmic Eclipse. I've got this booster box and there's specific things I'm looking for, and me and my girlfriend, the last Shaman, are going to be opening these up on the channel in a sort of competition to see who can get the better cards, and I'll tell you now, if she wins, I'm breaking up with her. You heard me, last Shaman. Son. But in the meantime, I decided, and I've always wanted to do this video, to take a trip down memory lane using the all-new technology of the card camera. Oh, look at that. It pops in, it pops out, it pops in, it pops out. Sorry to whoever's editing this. And show off / talk about my 10 favorite Pokemon cards of all kind, because Pokemon cards are not just images, they are also stories. For example, the first card that I want to talk about, the Holo Dragonite from Fossil. First of all, I just want you to take a moment to really appreciate how you can see the reeds and the grass in the background where Dragonite is sitting, but it's also faint. There's a kind of mysticism and fog about the image. Dragonite itself is one of the most elusive Pokemon from the Generation 1 games, and so the idea of having the first Dragonite card with the most gorgeous rainbow background, it looks like you've stumbled upon it in a sacred meadow. This Dragonite card is cool. You know, interestingly, my mum is really into jewelry, and she often, as I was growing up, talked about gemstones and looking at them and looking at the shine, and I never understood it growing up. Now, as a Pokemon card enthusiast, just seeing the way this card glistens, the variation of color on the card, it truly hits me with nostalgia. It reminds me of when I first got this card out of a pack. I mean, the only time I ever got it out of a pack, I was around my granny and grandpa's house. We were staying over, me and my brother. We were doing a sleepover. This card came out in 1998. I would have been 4, and therefore probably very irritating when doing a sleepover. I would have had too much energy, and I imagine bouncing around the place, and we had granny and grandpa walk in on us several times and be like, go to sleep. And that day, we had bought some packets of Pokemon cards, packets of Fossil, one of the first ever sets of Pokemon. And I believe, I don't know for sure, of course, but I believe this would have been one of the first holo cards that I ever would have pulled. I love it, and I would love to see this artwork brought to life on a newer card, which they do sometimes. Like, for example, I think there was a Charmander that was from base set, and they've reimagined that artwork a number of times, I think especially in the Gen 4 era. Anyway, that's getting off topic. That is not one of my top 10. This Dragonite is. Another one when I was a little bit older was the Steelix from Neo Genesis and the Blissey from Neo Revelations. At first, these cards don't seem like they should go together. Like, Steelix and Blissey, what do they have in common? Well, number one, they are two Pokemon that evolved from Generation 1 Pokemon. And at the time, when these cards came out, again, there was only, Bulbasaur to Celebi. That was the roster. That kind of made these cards even more special. But it's not only that. I pulled these cards out of a pack on the same day. And at that time, there wasn't really secret rares. I believe Neo Revelation is where they started introducing shining Pokemon. I'll talk about those in a bit. At that time, this was as rare as it got. You know, the funny thing is though, these are not my original copy of the cards, because my original copies of the cards, pretty much the exact same day as I got these, went in my pocket and went through the washing machine. I imagine a few of you out there will relate. And yeah, the cards got pretty much destroyed, and I held on to them for quite a while. Don't know what happened to them, but in recent years I've managed to regather these into my collection. Okay, let's skip forward a generation, and I'm not going to be able to keep doing that because in Generation 4, I pretty much stopped playing the card game for, all the way up until X and Y. I didn't really collect the cards, but I did collect them a lot during the Hoenn era, during Generation 3. Starting with the set EX Ruby and Sapphire, I was very luckily, my wonderful parents bought me every single theme deck from EX Ruby and Sapphire right the way up to EX Emerald / Crystal Guardians era. Basically, the whole Hoenn saga. Another favorites were, of course, the EX Sandstorm that came with this Armaldo and Great Dilly, but primarily for me, and this slot, I'm only on card number 3, because I'm talking about some of these in groups, but the main ones for me were the Sceptile, Blaziken, and Swampert that represented the new generation at the very beginning of the era of cards that I collected the most. It always bothered me a little bit that the Sceptile was the only one of these three that was holo, but yeah, looking at these card arts takes me back to that time when Ruby and Sapphire first came out. Just being a kid sitting on the floor and going through my binders of Pokemon cards. Okay, for spot number 4, let's go with something a little bit more recent. Although actually, to go forward, we need to go back. I mentioned this in the last video, but back when I was a kid, I saw an image on Cerebi.net. I saw an image of this jumbo-sized Pokemon card. Moltres, Zapdos, and Articuno. What an incredible looking card. I don't know what it was promotional for. You can't use it in play. Obviously, it's too big. But, and what really blew my mind is when in more recent days, they announced as part of the whole tag team thing, like, you know how you've got like tag team Reshiram and Charizard? They were like, we're gonna put 3 Pokemon on a card, starting with Moltres, Zapdos, and Articuno. Now, there are 2 other artworks of this, but specifically the least rare version of the card I think is really nice, really just showing off the birds, and the mosaic that came with the Elite Trainer box is absolutely stunning. I knew that I was going to have to get this card, and what I didn't realize that would set me up and get me into collecting the set that it came from, Hidden Fates, which had in it so many shiny Pokemon. This was earlier this year, and it's got me into loving the Pokemon card game so much that I'm now making videos about it. Look, we're 4 down. At this point, why don't you leave me a little comment? Is there any of these cards, do they seem familiar to you, or do you have any of your own stories? I would really love to hear, or heck, make a video response to this. It would be really awesome to hear your stories. Pokemon cards and bonding over kind of shared memories of Pokemon cards is something that I absolutely love. Right, moving on to number 5, a card that I own but don't have with me right now. Rocket's Snorlax EX. This is a card from Team Rocket Returns. I got this in a trade with one of you, with a viewer that I met at a convention once. And what can I say? For Team Snooze, a head evil organization with Snorlax at the helm, having a Team Rocket Snorlax is a pretty cool card. I think it's probably my favorite Snorlax artwork. That's number 5. Number 6. Okay. It's kind of a group of 6 cards here. So when I was younger, people talk about that Pokemania era being sort of 1996 through to about 2000, just before Ruby and Sapphire came out. Generation 1 and 2 hold a special place in people's heart, but Generation 2, when we got to the end of it and we heard that new Pokemon were coming out, there was kind of an eagerness about that period. The period of time that in the card game, all of the E-series cards were coming out. They were kind of like this complete reinvention of the way the Pokemon cards looked. I mean, yeah, at the time, all Pokemon cards pretty much looked like this Dragonite, right? But now they were looking like this, with new borders and a cool little barcodey thing down the side. And at the time, Bulbasaur, Charmander, and Squirtle, as well as Chikorita, Cyndaquil, and Totodile, these were 6 very special Pokemon because they were the only starter Pokemon at that time. For me in particular though, it was the artwork of Totodile chasing an Oddish, chasing it down with its big jaws. Given that Totodile was like my first Pokemon in Pokemon Crystal, this made me love Totodile so much. Actually, before I got to play Johto, my big brother had a copy of Pokemon Silver, and he chose Totodile as well, so I chose Totodile to be like him, and I think Totodile was probably my first favorite starter Pokemon. And this card really characterized the Totodile that I had seen in the games and in the animated series. Number 7. These cards are very special to me. My grandpa made me this display. These cards in here are what's known as Shining Pokemon. So yeah, there's shiny Pokemon in Hidden Fates, and there were shining Pokemon in Shining Legends last year, or the year before, whenever it was. But shining Pokemon from Neo Destiny and Neo Revelation, this is my Celebi from back in the day. This is my first shining Pokemon card. It is an incredibly rare card. It is not by any means in perfect condition, but that's not the point. It's probably one of the most gorgeous cards I own. I have slowly, over the last year or so, added more to the collection. There's shiny Steelix, Tyranitar, and Raichu. Again, these are not perfect condition cards. In fact, my shining Gyarados that's in a different language is very damaged, sadly. Though Shining Mewtwo was traded by one of you, so thank you for your help in completing this collection. There's only about 3 more that I need to get. Shining Kabutops, Noctowl, and Charizard. Charizard is another one of my favorite Pokemon. It was the absolute pinnacle when I was younger of rare cards that you can get. And most recently, I got the Shining Mew, which was only ever available in Japanese. It was a Koro promo. So I love these cards, but in particular, Shining Celebi would be my entry for this kind kind of part of the list. Have you got any shining Pokemon? I would definitely love to hear about that. Feel free to tweet me some pictures. Maybe if we ever met up at an event, I would love to trade. Okay, so number 8 is Charizard, and no specific iteration of Charizard, but mostly all of the new Charizard GXs. When I watched the World Championships earlier this year, the big deck that I saw being played was Charizard and Reshiram, and I was like, do you know what? That's kind of cool. I want to build that deck, and so I got some of the collection boxes that had Charizard and Reshiram. And then in the latest set, Cosmic Eclipse, there's a really cool Charizard and Braixen card, and in Hidden Fates, there's this Charizard GX that does 300 damage, and for those of you who don't speak TCG, maybe you don't know a lot about the card game, 300 damage is a lot. And another one of my cards that went off for grading, in the same box that I got the Moltres Zapdos Articuno Mosaic card, I also got a shining Charizard, a black Charizard from Hidden Fates. This is a card that in recent months has just been incredibly sought after, and I was very, very lucky to get it. So while, yeah, Charizard has always been a staple of the Pokemon card games ever since base set, of course, it really is in this last year, Charizard has had a really big impact on my love of the trading card game. I think my favorite artwork is probably the Family Charizard, as it's known. Just classic Charizard, breathing fire. Kind of looks like it did in that episode of the show where Charmeleon evolved into Charizard, Ash's one. But yeah, Charizard, good job, buddy. I know a lot of people think you're overrated, but I love you. Okay, next one, I'm going back to my book. Because the next entry on this list is not one Pokemon card. No, it is 18 Pokemon cards. Take these out of the sleeves so you can see a little bit better. This is what's known as the Southern Island collection of Pokemon cards, and as you can see, the cards actually create an image. My favorite 3, the first 3, they really show off the island. They really show off the Southern Island that this is all taking place on. You've got Mew, Pidgeot, and Onix, and you can see how the artworks bleed into each other. This Mew in particular is probably my favorite one of the cards in the whole set. I mean, genuinely, what a gorgeous card, and I got these cards when it came out, and I've somehow managed to keep the collection together, despite the fact that when I was a kid, you know, I didn't care about binders and sleeving stuff. I had it all in a shoebox, as you might right now, and it was all just sliding around everywhere. I definitely didn't keep the collection together. Heck, maybe if you do have a shoebox somewhere filled with Pokemon cards, you maybe want to have a dig around and see what you've got. Yeah, this collection, I love the idea of artwork coming together to tell a story. This isn't the first time they did it with the card game. I actually have a set of Ho-Oh, Lugia, and Skarmory that all do the same thing, but I think the Southern Island really took the whole artwork across multiple cards thing to the next level. And then finally, number 10, my favorite card of all time. And I'm holding 3 here, but really one is special to me. And that is this Entei from Neo Revelations. This is my favorite Pokemon card. Not just this artwork, but this specific Entei. But I remember getting this out of a pack in a shop, and then I remember being a kid and trading it away. I lost this card for a long, long time. I didn't have it as part of my collection, and I always thought about it, and I knew the guy that I traded to. In fact, he lives just down the road from me. And last year, through Pokemon Go, we managed to kind of reconnect, and I sent him a message and said, hey, can I trade some Pokemon cards with you? And he kindly traded me back my Entei. I've also since then collected the same Suicune and the same Raikou, and thank you to my friends who have helped me collect these. They, just like the Southern Islands, combined together to make one big artwork with Entei at the very center. I think it makes me love the legendary beasts specifically more than any other group of legendaries. And you'll notice that here I have old Pokemon cards. I have new Pokemon cards because the world of Pokemon cards keeps on managing to entice me. Kind of bonus round in Cosmic Eclipse, there is a card I am desperately looking for, which is the new Arceus Dialga Palkia alternative artwork that features the legendary Pokemon as a really cool statue. So yeah, I'll be looking for that in my booster box. And again, if the last Shaman gets it in her booster box, I'm breaking up with her. Unless she gives me the card, which she won't. She knows her priorities. Being a very talented graphic artist, then collecting Pokemon cards, playing Overwatch, and then down there is dating Birdkeeper Toby. So yeah, should be a lot of fun though. These are just my 10 favorite Pokemon cards. I would love to hear your Pokemon card stories, of course, in the comments down below. And thank you so much to the Pokemon Trading Card Game for sponsoring this video. The latest set is Cosmic Eclipse. I recommend if you want to start anywhere, going with the Elite Trainer box. In fact, even if you're a regular collector, the Elite Trainer box is really, really cool. I will be opening up even more of this stuff. I've got like a whole tin and stuff on Instagram very, very soon. Thank you for watching. Let me know what you think about card game videos in general. I really do love the trading card game. And with that being said, of course, soar high Pokemon Masters.
This is Ash Ketchum. You just watched a video by Birdkeeper Toby. That makes you a Pokemon Master.